Ah, you guys are already here. I'm just about to get ready to film another episode of Burnout. Let's... Oh, right. I don't have my chair here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten the freaking door open. Hello, guys, and welcome to more Burnout episodes. Episode 14, I believe. And this week, it's all about Kansas, and whoo! What a race! Arguably, probably one of the best races we have seen in the next-gen era, and wow, what an amazing race we got to see at Kansas just this past weekend. Kansas, as of recent, has definitely had the glow-up. What was once a really boring cookie-cutter track is finally becoming probably a really big, underrated gem on the NASCAR circuit. I mean, we've got to see some great races in the past as well before the next-gen era, but as of the next-gen era, thanks to the next-gen car, with its fantastic performance at these cookie-cutter tracks, it was a match made in heaven, honestly. It's just fantastic race. If it was out of 10, I would have ranked it an 11. This was definitely the best race so far this season. Fantastic action. Wasn't a wreck fest. There was loads of passing, loads of lead changes, and a fantastic finish that's definitely going to be heavily marketed for time and time again. Definitely a legendary race at Kansas. And we don't need a multi-million-dollar facility in Miami to do it. Yeah, take that for Midla 1. So first things first, of course, Denny Hamlin scoring his first victory of the season after a hard-fought battle with Kyle Larson. If you have to ask me if he deserved it, it was a 100% yes. Did really good early on in the race. I believe he finished first in the first stage, won the first stage, whatever you want to say about it. But, yeah, he was definitely up front throughout the race. The Toyotas in general were just fantastic throughout this race. You just got to see, like, JGR and even 2311 up at the front. I mean, even 2311, they won both races last year at Kansas, so... But, yep, Toyota was just a fantastic fleet this weekend, and it really got to show this week as JGR wins their second victory in a row after winning with Truex last weekend at Dover. So, yep, fantastic race. Hamlin, definitely one of the best drivers right now in the Cup Series. So, yep, it was a matter of time before he was going to win his first race, and he finally showed up this weekend at Kansas to score it once again. Another big factor throughout this race as well was Hendrick Motorsports, which you usually see a lot up at the front here, specifically Kyle Larson, who was battling with Hamlin at the end of the race, but unfortunately came up with a late block at the end, ended up losing control and smacking the wall on the back stretch, and finishing second. I mean, that's fine. He was my prediction. I'm used to my predictions finishing second in every single race now, so isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? But yeah, I feel like if it was 2018 and Larson didn't win his championship yet, I'd be way more mad. But overall, yeah, pretty good race. I mean, I'm kind of happy. I was really excited to see that finish. It was kind of insane. Sort of like reminiscent of a slide job in 2018 at Chicagoland, which is a very similar track to Kansas. I mean, they both were introduced in the same year, 2001. So, yep, it was just a beautiful race, just a beautiful battle for the finish here. A lot of people, I think, were saying that Hamlin wrecked Larson at the end of the race, but if you actually watched the replay, no, he didn't. Hamlin was holding his line, Larson came up with a bad block, so it was just the result of hard racing. So, no one's at fault here. I don't blame Larson, I don't blame Hamlin. It was just some hard racing. Larson made an innocent mistake and it ended up costing the race, so... I mean, he still finished second, so I don't think he's really that mad. But I will tell you who is mad. We got to see loads of beef this weekend with a pretty big battle, or pretty big fight, whatever. And guess which one of those drivers is? Yeah, that's right. The boy, the funny melon man. Once again, getting into more rivalries. After last week with him getting in the Larson, and now this week with Noah Gragson. What basically happened was Ross didn't give Noah enough room heading out of turn 4, putting Noah into the wall, and then eventually caused him to lose his tire and spin out, ultimately affecting his really good position at the time. So they got into a little bit of a confrontation at the end of the race here, but they're both men. I'm pretty sure they handled it in a very civil, kind of way, getting it over, talking it out, I don't think it really got too much for an escalation.
he was like touching me, it felt like, and it just had me kind of out of control. So
man, why is being a Ross Chastain fan so painful? It's like, yeah, he's such a fun guy. This is why I love him. But at the same time, you know this is going to cost you the championship later on this year. It doesn't matter how good you are. You know Gragson's going to put him into the wall later on this season. Like, you know what that's going to happen. If you had to ask me, I think they're both at fault for the fight. On one hand, yeah, Gragson had all the right to confront Ross for that. But at the same time, you don't put your hand on Ross like that. I didn't expect Ross to punch him, but at the same time, it's like, what did you expect? If you're gonna put your hand on him, like, dude, really? You're not gonna expect him to just take it? So, yeah, of course you're just gonna just, bam, right in the face. But, wow, that kind of caught me off guard when I was watching the end of the race. I was like, oh, shoot. That was literally my words were, oh, shoot, there's a fight. That was cool, but I'm disappointed, man. But you're still number one. So, yeah. And then lastly for the Cup race, yeah, even though it was very exciting, a very eventful race, I don't really have much to talk about this weekend because it was mostly just wild passing and another battle with JGR and Hendrick, two of the best teams currently in the sport. But there was a little bit of pit issues throughout this race as well. There was loads of drivers who had either loose wheel issues, ended up having to go into reverse and back it out, and some drivers even had runaway wheels running away while on the pit road. So we're going to be seeing a lot of crew chiefs getting suspended this weekend. So that's everything for the Cup race. Like I said, if it was out of 10, it would be 11. It was just a beautiful race and really showed what the next gen is capable of. All right, and then of course for the truck race, Grant Enfinger wins his first race of the year. That's all I gotta say. I don't really watch it. The reason I said that I didn't really watch it was because I was working at the time. I had work that night, so I didn't really get to catch the truck race, but... What was that? I thought I heard something. Alright, anyways, that's pretty much it for the Kansas weekend. Really good race, really good weekend, pretty good racing. Enfinger and Hamlin wins once again. Alright, and that is it for the big news. We're on 10 minutes, so don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and if you do, maybe I might give you a cookie or something in exchange for your liver. Yeah, like this week, there's not really much news this week. I mean, aside from the great Kansas race, but first things first was actually something all the way back from Martinsville. So this was a couple weeks ago. Austin Dillon apparently had a penalty for an illegal part under his underwing, I believe it was. RCR tried to appeal the penalty, but it has been upheld. So they still have their penalty. I mean, I don't really know what really happens. Apparently it was an illegal part, so, I mean, that is penalty worthy, I guess. But, as I always say before, if it was Hendrick that had this issue, they would have gotten off scot-free. And, yeah, the Hendrick fans would defend him because, oh, well, it actually didn't, they still didn't really affect their performance or anything. It doesn't matter, you still broke the rules. So, man, isn't that fun? Alright, and then lastly, yep, like I said, not much news this week, I guess. So, of course, the 75 greatest drivers of all time are adding more drivers to the list. They actually added 8 this week. So, yep. Mark Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski, both Kurt and Kyle Busch, Larry Phillips, Sam Ard, Kevin Harvick, and Joey Logano have been added to the 75 greatest drivers of all time list. Mark Truex Jr. won the 2017 championship with a pretty good decision as well as winning back-to-back Busch Series championships, something that you never really think of. Yeah, being the driver for Chance 2 back in the early 2000s. Brad Keselowski, just being a fantastic driver all around, legendary driver at Talladega Speedway. Of course, winning his first race there and winning loads of races there before, as well as winning the 2012 championship. The Busch brothers, legendary of itself. Kurt Busch, 2004 champion. Kyle Busch, 2-time champion, winning 2015, 2019. Just a duo that is so legendary, regardless on what era it is, whether it be the early 2000s or the late 2010s. Just two of the best drivers ever to run in NASCAR. Two of the best brothers ever to run in NASCAR. Just the best sibling rivalry we have seen before. And then the next two were something I never really thought of. First things first, Larry Phillips, which is a name that kind of would kind of confuse you at first until you realize he is a legend in the weekly series, which is something you never really think of. Like, yes, that's a huge stepping stone when it comes to stock car racing. So, of course, NASCAR would want to sort of give a nod to one of the most legendary drivers in the local short track scene. It's kind of like what they did with Mike Stefanik, with him being added at being a legendary in the modified series. Both these series, even though they are the top 3 NASCAR series, they are still very important when it comes to stock car racing, because it's a major stepping stone for majority of these drivers that race in the Cup Series now. They had to go through these series before. So, of course, NASCAR would want to sort of give a nod to the greatest in those divisions, whether it be the modified with Stefanik or the weekly series with Phillips. Sam Ard was, I believe, a legend in the early years of the Xfinity Series. Right when the Xfinity Series was running out, Sam Ard, I believe, was the first driver to win back-to-back championships in the Xfinity Series. So, again, a driver you never really think of, but he was one of the very first to be good in the lower division, in the feeder division, when it comes to the Xfinity Series, back then called Busch Grand National. So, pretty good. And then Kevin Harvick, 2014 champion, 2007 Daytona 500 champion, I believe 2003 Brickyard 400 champion. Just a huge legendary driver, especially when you know much more about his roots in the Cup Series. I mean, he had to fill in the shoes of one of the most legendary drivers of all time, Dale Earnhardt, and just at such a minute's notice. So, and just how well he performed in his first season and the season that followed. Usually a driver like that, especially since he wasn't really in the Xfinity Series so long, you'd think he'd struggle in his first couple seasons. But no, he was just a fantastic driver right out of the gate. So, of course, I'd really think he probably had one of the most successful rookie campaigns of all time, along with other drivers like Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, and Chase Elliott, for example. So, yeah, he definitely deserves the title of one of the greatest drivers of all time. And then lastly, Joey Logano, 2-time NASCAR champion, won the Daytona 500 in 2015. A driver that many fans don't really like, but at the same time, he is a fantastic driver in the Cup Series, and I do think he deserves being up there as one of the greatest of all time. So, yep, that's pretty much it for that. There's actually only 2 more positions left for the 75 greatest drivers of all time. So, I'm actually gonna go ahead and predict who those 2 drivers are, and I meant to say the 1 driver left, because we know, I mean, Jimmy Johnson's probably got to be the most obvious answer when it comes to, I mean, it's honestly surprising that they didn't already add him. I mean, it's only a matter of time before they say Jimmy Johnson's one of them. I mean, I would honestly be bamboozled and honestly flabbergasted if a driver that has won 7 championships with 5 in a row doesn't make the 75 greatest drivers of all time list. Instead, do a driver like Mike Harmon. And then I think the last driver, I'm probably going to go with Matt Kenseth with the last driver. 2-time Daytona 500 winner, 2003 champion. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, if I had to choose another driver aside from Matt Kenseth, I'd probably go with Matt Crafton, probably. But I doubt it. I'm pretty sure Matt Kenseth is probably going to be the last driver. Still mad Johnny Benson didn't make it, but okay. So, yeah. That is all the news that came out this week. Not really much to talk about, I guess, so. Alright, on to the next weekend prediction. This weekend is going to be Darlington Throwback Weekend, which is always a fun weekend. One of my favorite weekends of the year to see all those retro paint schemes. So, it's pretty cool to see. Alright. First things first, for the truck series, I'm going to be going with, I don't even know if Nick Sanchez is even going to be in this race, but I'm going with Nick Sanchez in the number 2 car, or truck, whatever. Again, I have no idea who's in the truck series anymore, who's good, who's bad, so I really don't know what to say. Next up, got the Xfinity Series. After so many races, I don't know why I keep predicting Junior Motorsports is going to win a race, but I'm predicting Justin Allgaier is going to win. He's won the last 2 races at Darlington in the Xfinity Series, and he's always good around this time, so I'm predicting finally he wins his first race of the season. Junior Motorsports' his first race of the season. So, probably doubt it. Probably going to be another JGR driver, but I don't know. And then lastly, for the Cup Series, I'm predicting Joey Logano goes back-to-back in the Spring Darlington race. So, Yep, that's my prediction. Hopefully he does it in a much less dirty way. He doesn't just dump Byron again, but yep, I'm predicting Joey Logano scores his second victory of the season and Ford's second victory. But Ford has just not been doing good this year. I don't know why. So, yep, that's it. That's all I have to say this week. Finally got this done. It's almost noon. It's past noon. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Tune in next week for the Darlington video. And tune in later this week as I'm going to be doing my Darlington throwback tier list. I think the final throwbacks are coming out around this time. I think just recently Kyle Larson's throwback just was released. And Bubba Wallace was just released to not do a throwback. Which makes me angry. Alright. Thank you guys for watching. And goodbye. Alright, time to leave. There's too much stuff in the way.